What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of 4 Dummies. And tonight I am joined with the other 3 dummies. I have Mrs. Skullface.
Hello.
I have just one.
Yo, what's happening?
I have Robert Detoff.
Wow.
Tonight we're going to be talking about instructions and the importance of instructions and how we feel about them in general. So before we get started with this was Robert's idea, which I thought was a great idea. Laura asked, what are we talking about tonight? And I said instructions. And what did you say?
I said, so you guys can talk about how you don't look at them?
So who here looks at instructions, really?
I do not.
I do not.
I've given up.
So why have you given up?
It's complicated most of the time. They inhibit the experience. They make it worse. They frustrate me. They make the transformation that much longer. I would much rather just watch a review and watch said person transform the figure, like Bobby Skullface.
Yeah. Who do you look for instructional reviews? I think that's an interesting conversation.
Bobby Skullface.
Do you really?
Yeah.
You shouldn't.
Well, no, because you transform a figure. No, fair point.
Don't do that.
I should.
Don't do
It's
that.
a fair point that I shouldn't. See, like Paik does a very methodical.
I think Paik does a great job.
He has a big problem though. Like he does not sometimes focus on the exact piece that you need to manipulate to do something, even though he's being really methodical. I love Henry. I really do. You know, so it's like it kind of I'm worried that like in really pivotal moments I'm gonna screw something up and it gets frustrating. I have to rewatch it. Yours, you transform it like the normal guy's gonna. That's why I like it.
Like the village idiot.
Yeah.
I think that's what he meant to say.
I'm like, okay, so just take this and kind of get it in there.
Yeah, no,
I'm
I think
like,
that's
all right,
I think
get
that's,
this and kind of get it in there.
I think that's fair. I'll tell you, I think T2RX6 does a great job with his transformations.
Oh, yeah. T2RX6 is great.
But think about how many times you've gone and you've watched a review to get some instructional material and you hear the reviewer say, this isn't covered in the instructions.
Frequently.
That's a problem.
Why I go to, yeah.
That's a problem. And so it seems to be a fairly widespread problem. What do you look for in instructions?
That's really the last enjoyment that I get out of this hobby is just figuring out how to transform them on my own.
Yeah,
I'm
but
one
how much
foot out
time
the
do you
door.
have?
Yeah, wait a minute. You do it on your own without anything?
Yeah, with nothing.
Seriously?
Listen, some of the complicated ones, like I'll be messing with it for an hour and sometimes I'll just have to leave it and I'll come back like the next day. I mean, it'll take me a while sometimes.
That's insane.
But I'm in no hurry. Where am I going?
You got a punch clock?
Where am I going? We're not going anywhere for the next month.
Yeah, really. Right now I got all the time in the world. That's what I'm going to do, transform every figure. So there are some times where like if I get stuck, then what I'll do is I'll Google photos of it and then try and go, like, because, you know, sometimes the box doesn't show. I try not to open up the instruction package at all. Like I hate once you open that plastic and then it's ruined from where the tape was.
That goes back into your
That's
OCD.
Yeah, so that bothers me. So I just leave it sealed.
You're like, oh, it's the instructions' own little detail. Bobby,
Dude,
please put some instructions.
You should have a detolf of just instructions,
instructions.
like laid in it. Like, oh
Mint
my
and
god,
sealed bag.
mint and
MISD.
sealed bag.
Oh.
At what point do you decide just that it's too far gone, that you need help, that you need assistance, that you need to Google images? At what point, if you play with it for an hour and then you come back to it the next day, at what point do you say, I need help?
When I feel like I'm going to break it, like, man, I'm going to wind up breaking it, then I'll go, let me look at a photo.
Maybe I should try that.
Well, because people out there will take photos like of every angle of the thing, you know what I mean? And that's what I'll look for. And I'll go, okay, this is what this looks like. This is where this is supposed to go.
Right. I applaud you for that, I guess.
I break a fair amount of too, also.
Not more than Bobby.
Robert said, oh.
Definitely not more than Bobby.
Look, I think the thing about instructions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Instructions are, I believe, it's an afterthought. It really is an afterthought, right? And I believe, like, if they do put thought into their instructions, they focus on quality of the images and the quality of the paper, and maybe extra bits, with a little comic in the back. Like, who the fuck's reading it?
I'm with you there.
But they take for granted the fact that those instructions are the most intimate connection they have with their customer. And if they understood and appreciated that, they would take so much more care, you know, in conveying the process to the customer, make it as easy and understandable as possible to make the experience as enjoyable as possible. I believe many of us have given up on even looking at them because of the negative experience one has with using the instructions.
I agree.
And that has a direct correlation to your opinion on a figure, and that affects your opinion of a company.
So that's a good point. The idea that you could have a negative experience with the transformation, pertaining to the instructions, could ultimately have a bad reflection on your experience with the figure overall. And then you start being a talking head because of this bad experience, and you start blaming the figure for the problems of the instructions. And then the figure ends up getting a bad rep.
Right. What if the figure actually didn't have the issue? It was the damn instructions or lack thereof.
I do agree with that. What do you look for in instructions?
I love images that highlight the area that's to be moved. I hate when they try to go 3D with arrows because it never works. I'm not sure which way the arrow is pointing.
Hold on a second, though, Robert. Before you go forward, let me ask you. So you said you like it where it highlights the piece that needs to be moved, but in what way? You want everything to be black, like black and white, and that piece be like red?
Yes, like grayish. Everything's grayish except what is being moved. I want it red. And you know what? Maybe explain what you're doing. Say, listen, the approach to these instructions is like super simple. So we are going to tell you in the first image, just pay attention to this piece. The next image, we show you how to move the piece. Some type of introduction on how to deal with these instructions, because some instructions do that.
I do feel like X-Transbots does a great job with that. They'll say, like, rotate this 90 degrees. Like, they'll have that written underneath.
Right.
Would you guys be cool if they just did, like, an instructional video online?
It's so hard, and it's so subjective as to what people find to be helpful.
Like, you have to do all the learning style, all the
Correct.
learning styles.
Correct.
I feel like
you got to teach to the GT students, the special ed students, and the normies all at one clip.
I think IKEA instructions do a better job, and they don't
I think they have pretty good instructions, IKEA.
I mean, if there's something funky going on and you can't tell which side is which, IKEA will at least do a blow up with a circle and
Robert,
exclamation point.
You were definitely not preaching IKEA instructions a couple of weeks ago.
But IKEA,
the Patreon people know how you're.
IKEA helps you out by telling you don't do it this way. They're like,
right.
Yeah, sometimes though, don't you look at the IKEA instructions and you see like what they want you to do, and then you see what they don't want you to do, and you're like,
and it's
what's
the
difference? Yeah, you're like, I can't figure out what is different between A and B.
I'll tell you what IKEA definitely wants you to do. They want you to do it with a buddy. They don't want you. They don't want you to.
Wait, and on a carpet. They never say just open up this big stupid box. Use the box.
Yeah.
They always want you to use a rug. You got to buy an IKEA rug. But one thing I feel like is lacking in many instructions is perspective, right? Because they are actually showing you the jigsaw puzzle pieces in like line format. So you don't know what the hell you're looking at because they zoom in. And you're like, I don't even know what piece that is.
So I also prefer, while we're on the subject of it, when you were talking about an area highlighted red or whatever, I'm on board with that as well. But I like when they use pictures of the actual toy as opposed to drawings of the toy.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Definitely.
Do you think they're too close to it though? Like they're too familiar, so it's like, oh yeah, this is easy.
Definitely.
Do they need some person who's never done it before to write the instructions?
Definitely. I actually went to school in my final year of college to major in technical communications, and one of the things that you had to do in there was write a instructional manual for something that was basic.
What'd you write yours for?
A peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And I can tell you, it was more challenging than you think it is.
The class made it wrong. Did somebody have to make it according to your instructions?
Yeah. and it was all f***ed up. I don't think that is an easy task to accomplish, and I give them some leeway, but I feel like by and large, it's more rare to come across an instruction manual that's actually helpful and beneficial than it is the opposite. Who would you say has the worst instructions?
Gosh, everyone.
Mm-hmm.
But fans' toys aren't great, right?
Fans' toys are pretty bad.
That's why the transformation experiences, they have that rep for a bad transformation. Any transformation is easy if you are shown how to do it properly.
I agree. I also think that fans' toys should come out and their first page of their instructions should be how to get it from package mode to robot mode.
Correct.
Because everybody takes pictures of their fans' toys products right out of the box, and they're like, he doesn't even have any hands.
Mine came broken.
So, but I agree that I don't think their instruction manuals are great. I honestly think that X-Transbots has the overall best instructions.
When I write something, even if it's a letter, okay, unless it's the most simple letter in the world, anything I write that I'm sending out, I have anyone nearby take a look at it. Take a look at this. What is it? Just read it and tell me me if it looks weird. Is it written weird? Are there errors? And more often than not, there's a problem.
Would you
Fix
look at
it. They clearly don't do that. I think the norm is whoever it is in charge of making the instruction booklet. They just have to make it, and then they pass it on to whoever has to produce it.
Yeah, I
but
agree.
they taking the instructions with the toy, having no experience with the toy. It has to be somebody who has no idea how to transform that toy, and then sit there and try to follow the instructions.
No, I agree.
Do you think you should be giving people the benefit of the doubt, like they're smart enough to figure that shit out?
No.
You want it to be honey-coated.
Yeah, you want it to be dummy proof.
Any transformation can be palatable.
You know what instruction manuals I tend to prefer are the ones where they show, like, here's the figure as it is. The next panel is this is the movement, and then the next panel is this is how it should look now that you have
what it
moved
looks like.
Exactly. But they got to
that's just a review on paper.
No, but they have to tell you that's what they're doing, though, because if they don't,
Yeah, because you're like this doesn't look like a step was done here. It looks the same.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're like, did I just miss 2 steps? Because if you did, you screwed up.
It's so true. But yeah, I agree. Like they should have like a before, action, after. I think it is important for third-party companies to recognize that the instructions are important to the process of the figure, and the process of the figure is important to your overall enjoyment and initial kind of interaction and response to the figure.
The would you look at it guy in his white shoes.
I want to see the swirl on a horn.
And I want to see people buying a shit ton of toilet paper.
I want to see some butt ice.
Robert wants to see Jordan wearing Jordans.
No, a Geordie.